Okay, here's the second phase of triphasic, which is isometric, and we're basically showing you how to hack to see if your athletes need that isometric development phase. And I tried to figure it out without strength tests. I ran strength tests also to figure this out and found a large correlation with starting strength with the isometrics, and also then I was able to correlate that with the 5-yard dash. So you'll see coming up here, but the purpose of this is to speed up the training process of triphasic training. So essentially what you would do is, if you have 17 weeks of training, the first 3 were GPP. I took those out. I have a GPP manual you can look at, but and see what type of GPP you want. But then the next phase on this part 2 is I'm talking about is the isometric phase. So by taking that out, and actually you would also probably take out an extra download week, you can see we've been able to get this concentrated part of the training, which is the most valuable to your athletes in base building, other than base building, I'm sorry, that we can add more training. So really now you've taken out, if your athletes didn't need the isometric phase, you've taken out 5 weeks with the GPP, and we're really, this number would be 12, and now we can actually cycle through and get more training done. So maybe your athletes need isometrics after this, and you can test them, and that's what we're going to hack and show you right now. So the website Performance Made Simple, which is right here, Performance Made Simple, you can click on the link on the YouTube down at the bottom of the YouTube video, and you can get to here, get to this slide, which can get you to here. But this what we have here is the typical 10-20 tool model that I use for predicting periodization, saying what direction we need to go. And you can enter a 10-yard, you basically enter a 10 and a 20-yard time, and you can basically see that based upon the 5 and 10-yard strength training zone, the triphasic zones, you want to do isometrics. So this is recommending isometrics in your strength zones of zone 10 to 13, which is basically strength training. Zone 7 is basically a power, and zones 4 through 1 is high speed method. Now what you'll get is essentially the concept that we're doing isometric phase. This is highly recommended based upon the 5-yard sprint time. So let's say we speed up the 5-yard sprint time. Boom. You can see what happens here is that the 5-yard sprint now recommends that we use light loads, and there is no training zone. Okay, there is no isometric recommendation. So essentially, if you put your athletes 10-20 time and the 5-yard split time in there and get no isometric zone recommendations, you do not need isometrics for your athlete at this time. Okay, so by saying this is, again, you're just basically eliminated a block of training that you felt that they needed. Now if you're a coach with this recommendation, you go, well, I really love the isometric phase. It's a phase that we gather around the team. I'm not telling you you can't do isometrics. I'm saying for this particular athlete, it is not needed at this time. Now, realistically, coaches, you got to realize you may run through these phases, and then when you retest the 5, 10, 20, you may actually be recommended to do isometrics later in your training. It doesn't mean you have to do it right there. You just keep it in the back of your mind. Let's say you wanted to do a peaking cycle, and then you're saying, well, it told me to do isometrics, but I want to do peaking. I understand. You can do both. I'll put videos out about that later. But what you may want to do is retest later, or just come back to the next training block and do the isometrics at this point, because I'm not disagreeing with you. If you think peaking is important, I feel that this is the most important phase, which I have a manual which incorporates about 450 exercises of peaking exercises for my peaking methods in my manual. I actually highly recommend it. It's some of the most beneficial that I've seen for athletes in regards to getting results when you want it. But then you may circle back and do your isometrics right here after that phase has been done. But again, this is can be found at Performance Made Simple, and this is just a hack to eliminate aphasia training, or actually apply it when you need it the most. So this is something to look at. I will do multiple videos on basically how to add isometrics to the zones, strength zones or power zones, or how you modify your programming. And it's pretty simple, to be honest with you. I'm not sure when I'll get to the video, but you're adding pauses. So you go down with plyometrics, you add pause, and you're doing high speed velocity on the way up, but with a pause that lasts about 3 seconds. Same in the power zone. The strength zone, you're just holding weight with a pause at the bottom. So there's the hack for the isometric phases. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope your training gets accelerated with this concept. Thank you.